What is up, everybody? This is Katrina from In Cat We Trust, and this is another episode of Kicking Back with Cat. And I have a friend of mine who returned for the third time, which is the first for my show, 3 times on. So first, thank you so much for that. Also, one of my very first wrestler I got into when I said this. So welcome back, Jon'tae. What's up?
Listen, you already know. So I can show love. You've been going crazy on the podcast scene, and I need parts. So basically, I'm mooching right now. I'm trying to you know what I'm saying? I'm like, hold on, who? She getting over? Yep, I'm on it. I'm done.
Look at you hyping me up. So first, let me ask you, how is married life? Like, for those of you who do not know, Jon'tae is officially married off the market. So try none of the shenanigans. None of the shenanigans over here. But how is married life? Like, that's,
I love it. And like, shout out to my wife, the beautiful Nitra. I love that woman, man. That is my heart. You know what I'm saying? She the reason why I'm not crazy. Well, I'm still crazy, but I ain't so yeah, I love it. You feel me? We still like the newlywed thing going on. So we still planning a honeymoon and stuff like that. It like we got some lit plans coming up. So yeah, I'm excited for everything, for real.
Well, that's good. I mean, I've been married twice, unfortunately. So so it's always good to see other married couples that are doing well, because I'm like, my experience, but it's always nice to see like everybody else, especially younger people, where it's like everything is good and it's not like that weird stereotypes that some younger people seem to think marriage is. So that's good.
I'm here. Hey, listen, I just got off like 10 minutes ago. I'm parking lot at the gig right now. So like, yeah. That's
so what is new with you? What is happening on the wrestling front? What's going on with any new bookings or promotions you may be working with?
I mean, I can be real with you. We gang. So look, the bookings have been okay. They haven't been the greatest, but it's wrestling. A lot of these. I didn't really like throw myself out there this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been focused on like other things and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. When I took the year off last year, I was like, I'm gonna come back and do my thing, yada yada yada. But like, I'm like 12 years in now and stuff like that, and I'm looking at it like damn, I've been in for a little minute now. I can like pick and choose where I want to wrestle and like wrestle when I feel like it, and if I don't feel like wrestling, I'm not gonna wrestle. So that's what I've been doing for real, and just enjoying that. And I just been like kind of locally, like just been wrestling like around, my spot, and having good matches out here. Cause I told you before, I never really wrestled out. It's getting dark. Let me turn this light on. But yeah, I never really wrestled out in my city like that. So that's really what I'm doing. Just trying to just stay locally and see what happens with that. Really.
That's good. Yeah, I understand. It's been a weird year and a half. Like, I've been telling people, like, COVID changed so much with how you look at things, I guess, with perspective of like what to give your energy to. So I definitely understand just like picking what is important enough to put your energy into. That I definitely understand, because it's been so crazy. Like, I know there's good things clearly, but also it's just been crazy for, I think, everybody all over, just with the pandemic and everything being kind of restricted for a bit, and then trying to figure out how to move forward from all of this. So I definitely hear you on that one. Like, that's something I'm trying to do better at. Like, I feel like I'm always busy now, but it's also like trying to remember, like, listen, I am one person who also, outside of wrestling, do a whole bunch of other stuff. So
yeah,
let's not overwhelm myself or at any point.
And then, like, I know you be watching like the shows and whatnot. Like, what do you think of like the current state of wrestling? Like, does it seem like it's not interesting for real? Like, it's not. I'm not trying to sound like
no. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just not. It's boring. Like it's boring out here. Everybody, you either gotta like, you feel me, do the deathmatch shit, and I'm not doing that shit. Or you know what I'm saying, you gotta do some ridiculous, but like I'm not doing that no more because it didn't get me no damn where for real. So like, and that's where like a lot of folks gotta like understand, like if you do the crazy shit and whatnot, like you really gotta think about like where is it gonna get you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's not gonna get you anywhere. You're not over for real. You just over on the internet, and over on the internet ain't really as over in real life for real for
Yeah.
real. People got to be like living by character. Like you gotta have a relationship with folks. It takes a long time to really get over, and I don't think people like understand that for real. You know what I'm saying? So
I know. I definitely agree with that. Like when a person, like, you don't have to necessarily even be there, but if like the person knows who you are and you're like, oh, I know that wrestler, I know that person, and they like get excited, I feel like that's when you're kind of over. Like when you don't have to necessarily do too, like obviously still entertain and still wrestle, but not where you have to do things to kind of keep your name out there. So that I get. I definitely. I mean, it's weird because like especially with like the whole things with WWE with. I mean, granted, I love me some Roman Reigns, and I think he's a good part of WWE with the story they got going for him right now. But
yeah,
that's when you kind of have like all the people being fired or gimmicks maybe working for a week or two, and then all of a sudden it's a whole new gimmick. And I feel like it's so much like rushing through things that you're not focusing enough to allow to see what can be done with the gimmick or what can be done with the wrestler. And it's like people get so bored or people complain so easily. It could be like one thing and they're like, oh, I don't like this. And so it gets changed. So, I mean, I will say I do like that there's more options for wrestlers in general. Like there seems to be more options for people to get to do things than it used to be. But
yeah.
there's also a lot of things that probably could be tweaked.
I definitely feel that for sure. Cause um, yeah, it's like the same group of people like still watch wrestling for real, and it's not really that many people over enough to take people's imagination and take it further anymore. And a part of me, like the performer in me, still want to be like, yeah, I want to be that person. I absolutely want to be that person still. But like nobody is like, everybody's kind of smart in the business. You know what I mean? Like you can't really pull. How can you sit here like the wrestlers? We gotta take ourselves in account, like hold ourselves accountable for this. Like the people already know that it's manipulated and whatnot, and they know that it's a work. You know what I'm saying? I can be real with you. We end up in this damn near. So it's like, yeah, it's a work. So we don't want to insult their intelligence like that and whatnot. So we got to make it look as real as possible. You know what I'm saying? We can't be fake when people already expecting fake. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's what we are. They're like, no, let's just go out there and wrestle and put our fingers up each other's assholes and just be fake as hell, and all this other goofy shit that you see in the indies. And it's just like, if I show that to my man's, like I can show my man's out here one of these matches, and he'll be like, yo, what the fuck is that? Like, what is that? Like, this shit goofy as hell. And like, as a wrestler, I should be like offended by that. Like, this is what I do, bro. Like, what you mean this shit goofy? You know what I'm saying? But eh, folks don't see the business the way I see it, and that's this dude. I wish I can get like half these people on the camera with you, because these dudes are stupid that I'm looking at. Dumb, straight dumb. But yeah, like it's weird, cat. I don't know. Do I sound bitter? I don't want to sound bitter, dog. I don't want to sound like the old grizzly vet that just don't like
No, I don't
anything.
think it necessarily sound bitter. I think in general there should always be some realisticness to what's happening. I guess behind the scenes, like no, I understand the whole let's not reveal too much. Like I get that part. Though I feel like social media kind of ruined a lot of what could be used back before, as far as when you want to manipulate a storyline. Because like it's like oh we hate each other, but then like tomorrow we're on the picture like we're at each other's houses, and
Bruh.
while realistically I know that clearly you guys really don't hate each other because I'm smart enough to know that, but it's also like it makes it a lot harder to portray the story you might want to tell necessarily because it's like what you just said. you just talked about this person's wife and child and whatever, and but here we are, and I'm like, personally, somebody talking about my kids. I know my response. Would it be a
You
good
know
one?
what I'm saying?
So in that regard, yes, I do feel like social media definitely changed how well sometimes you can portray certain things, which is why I do appreciate some wrestlers who legit kind of live in kayfabe, where it's like you can't really ever tell if they're not in kayfabe because they live it so well that it's like, well, damn, this person's been an asshole, but at least you're in the gimmick. Like you're living the gimmick to an extent where it's not, you know, I'm questioning if I can believe the story. So yes, sometimes that does happen with certain stories. I'm like, can I suspend myself enough to believe the storyline? So now it's like, okay, if I get a good match that is told well during the match, then I usually kind of go to that, like the matches where I'm like, okay, this is a really good match and you did well in the match, that I believe whatever story you're trying to tell in this particular match. But I don't know if I can believe a whole bunch of stories now, just because again, social media kind of changes like how we look at what rivalry is and what storylines are and what, like, oh, we had a beef like 5 years ago and we still got a beef, but like we're partying like next week. It's like, oh, all right. I mean, I guess so that I definitely understand that. I guess as a viewer, it could be an issue, but you know, I guess
Yeah.
that's what it is now. I feel like hopefully that will change, but
I mean, but like at the same time, like we both know it's manipulated and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So it's only so much that we can really do. All right, so take me for example. All right, I'm not saying I'm a celebrity or none of that goofy shit that a lot of people try to portray in the indies for real. But excuse me, I'm a regular dude. As you can see, I just got off work. It's dark. You feel me? Like regular activities that what I'm saying, that you would see a regular person do. You know what I'm saying? Working to provide for his family, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? That's me. Like what you see right now is what you get. Like how I am right now is how I would be in the wrestling ring. And that's not a character. That's real. That's what's wrong with these dudes. They not real. You know what I'm saying? Everything is see-through. You know what I'm saying? And you can tell that in their matches. It's all see-through. They don't know who they are for real. And it takes a lot of, bro, I swear. Like it takes time to really find out who you are in this business, for damn sure. You know what I'm saying? Like I wish the stuff that I know now, I wish like I knew that shit back then in like
yeah,
2013 through like 15. I've been killing the game. I've been out here doing all types of stuff if I had the mindset back then I got now. Thank God I got it now, because I can still apply that to the future. But
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like it takes a hell of a lot and a hell of a lot to get over, bro. Like people have to really feel where you coming from. You have to have a relationship. Everything that we go through in life for real is revolved around like relationships. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have a relationship with something in order for, what I'm saying, for
yeah.
the grow and stuff like that. So imagine like if you see a guy that's been grinding for damn. You see a guy that's been grinding. I thought that was me. I thought somebody was honking at me like, damn, I'm in the parking lot. But imagine if you saw a guy that's been grinding for like forever. You know what I'm saying? You know his story. You know what I'm saying? You see what he go through, and all of a sudden it's just like he shot up. Those are real feelings because you was with bro through his entire journey. You know what I'm saying? You really lived that. He's really like this because you saw it. You know what I'm saying? There's no facade there. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's straight real. And that's what, what I'm saying, it need to come like that again. You know what I'm saying? People need to know why they fuck with you for real. People know why they fuck with me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yeah. I'm sorry that it's so dark now, by the way. But
No worries. Listen, you literally just said you was at your work, so that's like a good reason
right.
for it to be a little dark outside. But yeah, no, I hear you in that. I definitely feel like I'm gonna use him because I just saw him at Survivor Series Jeff Hardy. Why I was like everybody still. I mean, granted, a lot of people say black people will mess with him anyway because he's Jeff Hardy, and I'm like that's true. Like black people do tend to. Black people definitely tend to like Jeff Hardy a lot more than a lot of other wrestlers, and that is true. I am one of them. But I also think a part of why I also was a fan was I definitely watched him from the beginning, and so whenever he had his big wins or when he did something that he overcame, I was super hyped about that because I'm like, I was a fan from like way back fan. So in that regards, why I know he's like more famous than like other people here say is more so just I get that with regards to wanting to have like a connection enough that it feels more emotional when they hit their milestones or they get like an accomplishment or even if they kind of have a set down and you're still like kind of riding with them. So that I understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Like Jeff Hardy, you know what I'm saying? Guys like Jeff Hardy, Rob Van Dam, and Eddie Guerrero, those are like real, like people really fuck with them. And I'll never forget when I went to this show, it's back in like 2005. My mama took me to the SmackDown house show, and I remember everybody that was on the car. It was Ray, it was Eddie, it was Cena, it was Undertaker. I'm gonna fuck you up with this one. Renee Dupree and Luther Reigns, like those type of unknowns. You feel me? Like you got to be a real mark to know about that about them. But yeah, I remember like the most over people there was Cena. I remember when Cena came out, so much love. And when Eddie came out, the building went crazy. You know what I mean? Like, cause he teamed with Ray, and I was just thinking, I was like, man, like I want that. Those are genuine. That's genuine love, and till this day, people still love Eddie Guerrero and stuff like that, and all those guys. You know what I mean? Because they made you feel a way, and that's the whole purpose of wrestling. It's supposed to make you feel some type of way. Like now, all of a sudden, we watch wrestling, we either feel like, okay, CM Punk and whatever, and MJF just did a promo together. This is wrestling. That's great. Over on Raw, you got Edge and whoever the hell, they just did something, but they shit trash. And all the other stuff is just trash. There's no wrestling for real because nobody really knows what they like. You know what I'm saying? It's all over the place. And then it's too much damn wrestling. How you have too much bad wrestling, dog? Like this is all crazy. You know what I'm saying?
It is definitely a lot of wrestling. I didn't realize until like I had to start doing multiple things. I'm like, all right, there's going to be days where I might have to catch not on the day. I might have to catch it the next day to give myself some space because I'm like, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I'm like, I was doing the watching and then reviewing or recapping, and I'm like, oh, I can't do that anymore. Like it's too much. And I started not liking it, and I'm like, it's a bad place when I'm supposed to. This is like my job, and now I'm like, ugh, I can't. So now I had to kind of step back a bit and like, okay, I can do things differently, but I can't not do anything that requires me to completely recap shows. I can't. It's too much to recap now. So, but I hear you. I think my issue, and it's not because like wrestling can be hit or miss depending on the wrestler. Like there's some people's gimmicks I really enjoy, and then there's other people I'm like, oh, I don't really care enough about that. But I might talk some shit because I do that sometimes, and I like talk shit. Not that I go after wrestlers directly, like people who feel the need to like tweet people at people or find themes. But that's a bit. I always find that to be strange as a fan. It's like, why do you feel the audacity and like the like, oh, I feel like it's okay for me to like mess with somebody because I don't like their gimmick. I feel like that's a bit extreme. I feel like a lot of fans sometimes take the fact that they're fans for granted, so they feel like they're kind of that's what I want to use, entitlement. It's an entitlement that a lot of them have. I feel like there's everything. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it has to be for me only, and it has to be this way. And if you don't like what I like, but oh my god, because a lot of that too. And I think that's my biggest issue with fans. It's like if you don't like what they like, they get real aggressive. And I'm like, listen, I've been a wrestling fan for a long time. There's a point I stopped watching wrestling multiple times where it was just years of me not watching anything. Where I'm like, when did this happen? And I had to go rewatch to find out when this happened. So it's like, wrestling, especially, and it's statistically, I believe wrestling has lost a good chunk of audience overall. So it's like if you want people to join wrestling, fans, you gotta have to not be so extra all the time and not be so entitled and not feel like you know everything, because wrestling fans swear they know everything about wrestling and they know all the ins and outs. And I'm like, I literally like a baby toe in, and I don't know shit. So I don't know shit like to the level like I might hear things and I'm like, okay, I might have been privy because I know somebody who told me and they were right, and I'm like, okay, I did know this, but to the level I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, I know for a fact, and let me now sit on the soapbox and talk down to everybody else because, and I'm somebody who actually works in it a little bit now, so it's like a lot of that happens. I feel like that's also a problem with wrestling. It's like the fan base is so toxic. It's so toxic. And
Man. Yeah.
like,
So let me ask you then, like, so you say that you did jump into business. Like, how's the business treating you then, like, as far as the rest of the business? Like, how do you like the vibe? You know, is everybody like cool with you? Have you had to cut somebody out yet? Like, what's going on?
um, there was one wrestler that I was supposed to interview, and it bothered me only because I pride myself on being on time in general. If I'm late to something, something happens. Like if I'm late to anything, something happens for me to be late. I pride myself on being on time. I feel like respect people's time, respect that they have lives and jobs and everything else. So
Yeah,
because I
most definitely.
expect people to respect my time as well. So there was this one wrestler where there was an issue with I usually will reconfirm the time with people. I'll check back in like we're still good for this time and this date, so there's no confusion. I
Mm.
usually did that, and I waited for like an hour for this
Oh
person, and
wow.
then the person came back with like an attitude, and I'm like, listen, I might have my camera cut off because if I'm waiting like 15 minutes early, you don't need to see me like switching off a shirt or something. Nobody needs to see me doing all that in the camera, so my camera will be
Right.
off. But as
Right.
soon as it's time, 5 minutes up, I will put the camera on to let you know I am here. Or if you can see my name at the bottom of the thing, I'm already at the room. Like my camera might just be off. I might be setting up my mic or something. So the attitude I
Sure.
got from that kind of pissed me off. And I was respectful in my response, but I was really angry because I'm just like, I've interviewed quite a few people now, and I have never not been on time, and I've always been very respectful. So this attitude, like he was like Dwayne Johnson, really pissed me the fuck off because I'm like, you are not him. Let's calm that. Let's knock that down a peg a little bit, and this is
Yo,
not to like insult all the rest. Like, of course, be confident in your ability. Be confident. That helps tell your gimmick. But that attitude that I got, I was like, let's not act like your time is this extra, like you were Dwayne Johnson in a 15-minute spot,
oh
because
my
you're
god.
not. And like I legit waited, and I never wait that long. I waited for an hour, and I had things to do, and I'm like I waited and cut things around to wait, and then you still gave me an attitude. And while an apology did come eventually, I was angry about that because I'm like I've never been rude to anybody. I always
Right.
try to be respectful to people because I expect that in return. So that was probably like the one incident like I was kind of pissed off, and I'm like where I was angry. And there's been other little things like I think I wrote something for somebody and somebody kind of like took my words, which kind of pissed me off too, where like word for word like took what I wrote, and then because they had a bigger fan base, it was harder to say, oh, I wrote this first. You know how
Oh,
fans are, so that kind of pissed me off because it's like I don't like feeling I have to work extra hard. Like I work hard already. Uh, being new into because I'm pretty new. Like it's a year, but I'm new into all of this. People who've been doing this 5, 10, 15, 20 years. I'm nowhere near that.
mm,
Um, but to have, I've been writing for a lot longer. I was like, no, I haven't been wrestling like this long. But my writing, I've been doing professionally since 2014.
period.
So, so
Hey.
that that I was offended by because I'm like, listen, I might not have the really big wrestling platforms that other people get to have. I'm not super girly or like where I hate my speaker. I hate my speaker voice all the time. So it's like I'm not one of the extra like over cheer for all the time. I'm funny. Well, I'm not. I'm sarcastic and I like to laugh and joke, but I'm also how I am on the podcast. Is how I am in person. This is how I am. So I
Mm.
was a little annoyed by that because I'm like, okay, this person got like a bigger fan base, and what do you tell? Who's gonna believe that this is me? Even though I know I wrote this and I could prove that I wrote it. It's just like how how toxic fans are. So outside of like that incident and the incident with that particular wrestler who really thought you know about himself, it's been pretty okay. Like I've had like some really super awesome opportunities. Um, I left UPR and wound up branching out, which seemed to be the right thing because it's working out. Like being on the AEW media call, well, Well, I was really agitated with the whole call. Just the way that some of the questions was answered and the way the responses was, I was very agitated, and I was kind of glad that they kind of had everybody muted because I'm like,
Yeah.
I was talking out loud, like, yo, no, he didn't just say this nonsense, and they annoyed me, and I'm like, yo, you have this like ego, like calm it down just a little bit. And so that bothered me, but it was nice just to have that experience to kind of like, this is what happens in press calls. Like that's a good thing to know. Now I know. And being able to go to Survivor Series, I had great seats, and that was off of me working for a wrestling promotion, and that was a free ticket, just tickets we had. Not that was pretty cool, and get to interview Medusa, which is like she's a legend, and that was like I didn't expect that. So I was like,
That's
oh, you gotta go,
real.
and like the fact that she thought about me to do that, and or having people recognize me like, oh, I saw you on fight. And I'm like, wait, what? And in my head, it's like when I'm not on camera, I'm super like regular. I'm in sweatpants. I'm in mom mode. So I'm not extra, extra. But so I guess it's like, it's humbling. Like, shit, I didn't think this would be me in a year, or
Yeah,
that people would
absolutely.
want to give me opportunities and be like, would you like to do this? And, not ask somebody more experienced. So that part's been really good. And I got to work with some really awesome people. I got to meet awesome people, like meeting Jazz in June. I like had like a whole, I had like a whole meltdown about that. Like, oh my God, Jazz, you're like, I watched you on TV. And she
Yeah,
was
that's
so
lit.
nice. She was so nice. So manifesting that interview with her, I would love to interview her. But so far, I mean, it's been pretty okay. I mean, I haven't been in like I've only been working with one indie promotion as far as doing like interviews there, so nothing crazy happened yet where it's like I felt uncomfortable. I mean, he's a pretty cool guy, so nothing weird or some of the stories I've heard, and I guess that's a good thing. I don't want to deal with anything weird or creepy or any of that stuff, but there have been a couple, just a few people that I'm like, let's cut that down a little bit. Just
Hey, that's lit though.
humble yourself a bit. Just humble yourself a bit, but
I,
otherwise,
I'm
so far so good.
I'm glad that you and Max. Like, shout out to both of y'all. Y'all doing y'all thing for real. Like, for real. Like, fuck all the negative shit that come with this. Like, fuck it all. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't even pay that attention. For real, for real. Like, as far as dude, I don't know who it was that had the ego, but man, if I knew, I'll be cooking dog. Like, what? Because first of all, if you in the indies, your fan base is like what? There is no fan base for real, because it's like nobody watches this shit. You got like the people that fuck with me. Like, I don't even say I got a fan base. That's no people that fuck with me. You know what I'm saying? People fuck with me heavy, and then we go from there. Personally, saying I got fans and all this other shit, like, I don't even like that. That make me sound away. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like that. So if you fuck with me, you fuck with me. Like, that's real. Um, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, in this business, though, these dudes have the mind of like they just feel like they about to get. First of all, ain't nobody millionaires. If they millionaires and billionaires from doing this shit, you know what I'm saying, then more power to you. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you did something right. You mastered the business, bruh. You mastered the business somehow, and everybody in the business eating. I'm not complaining about how this shit trash. You know what I'm saying? All that. It's all good. But until then, yeah, folks need to tone it down a little bit. Tone it down. Like, for real. We ain't got no egos in here. Like, why do we there's no reason for us to have egos in the indies like that. For real. We all, if wrestling get back to not wrestling at each other, but wrestling with each other again, then we'll be okay. You know what I'm saying? The whole purpose of this shit is to get each other over and whatnot. And folks be staying in, and that's another thing too. They stay in the character. Like, peep this out. This is free game for you too, since you in the business. So, like, these dudes in the indies swear that they have it mastered for real, for real. And they don't have anything mastered, because 9 out of 10, the dudes that's training them are like around my age now. Like, we're all like the vets now, because the real OGs ain't even saying nothing no more. They so frustrated with us for real. They like, whatever. We ain't about to they ain't listening. All they want to do is flip and hit each other with barbed wires and all that other shit anyway. They don't want to make no real money. You know what I'm saying? Now, unless somebody sit here and tells you, like, gives you criticism, like real constructive criticism on how like you can elevate the business even more, and also put yourself in a position to you can eat, fuck 'em. For real. That's real. Fuck them. They can't. And also because people will, and then this is us just me being real with you. Like they're gonna try to test you anyway still because you're a woman.
Oh, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I
That's
forgot.
real. They just still gonna test you because you're a woman. They gonna think that you don't know what you're talking about. Well, fuck that. Yes, you do. You know what you're talking about because, like you said, just because you don't have like the wrestling knowledge, you know how to write. So what I say, what you can do too, is look up the history of pro wrestling, so you can like start cooking these dudes when they think they can get something on you. When you be like, well, no, because usually like stuff will go like this in wrestling. Well, I remember like such, you know what I'm saying, like start to like really dig deep into the history of this shit and start going for the jugular when folks try to check you and thinking you don't know what you're talking about because
It's
they
not
don't
to
even know
begin
what
with.
they talking about.
I do know a good chunk of wrestling history. I'm not gonna be a person that can like spit out dates and stuff. I'm like, listen, I do that for nothing. There is
Yeah.
nothing I love that much that I can like give you stats off the top of the head or give you dates. That's not something I know. But I've watched wrestling for a long time. So when, I think I did this with a friend of mine. We was talking about the Dark Side of the Ring episode with I believe it was the Ric Flair one, that's the whole plane ride situation. And
Mm.
this guy was really going back and forth with me. Like, first of all, he questioned how old I was. I was older than him. So when he said that, I'm like, bro, you're the same age as my little brother. You're like, let's calm that down. I'm older than you. And I'm like, I've been watching wrestling since the 90s with my grandma. That's how I started watching wrestling. My grandma would like it, and I watched it with her. Before my mom even started watching it, I watched that with my grandmother and my twin. So I'm like, I'm not like sitting here like you're not gonna catch me with like every wrestler's T-shirt, and I'm not gonna be there with every wrestling show front row. No, but I'm not completely oblivious to wrestling where I know nothing, or I'm just like a woman who is like, you know what? I just decided to like wrestling to like let's make a podcast. Like, no, absolutely not. Like, absolutely not. Like, granted, I will say in the indie scene, pretty recent as I started going to indie shows, maybe like 2018, 2017, maybe
Mm.
2017. I started really going to indie shows, but as far as like the other wrestling, I'm like, yeah, no, I had a pretty good knowledge of a lot of wrestling, and then the ones I learned recently,
Yeah.
you look up some stuff like Google's free. I was like, listen, I use Google often because it's free. Look up some shit. Like I do it all the time. So that was the thing. And yes, he was a guy, and I'm like, you guys always gotta question my knowledge. Like I know nothing. I'm like, I would not feel comfortable knowing absolutely nothing and sitting here talking to you guys like this. So like,
Right.
I literally feel I'm not that confident in my skills to bullshit that I can like know nothing. I'll be like, you know what, guys, let me bullshit with you guys for an hour or so, and I know absolutely nothing. So
Yeah, man.
I definitely get that from people with the testing part because I'm a woman. Like I don't know anything, and I'm like, yeah, you guys always do shit like this, but
And shit, I mean, I've been doing it for forever my damn self, and I still don't know everything. You know what I'm saying? Because you won't learn everything. Like it was different for me though, because well, actually no, it wasn't different. I didn't get really trained the old school way, but I did. You know, feel me? Like I got on the road quick and learned. You know what I'm saying? That's how you really learn for real. Like you got to get on the road and talk to people and get in the ring, and that's how you really understand. Like when you go like to different towns or cities or whatever the hell you go, you get to learn those people. You know what I'm saying? So you can learn how to work in front of a crowd and learn that crowd or whatever, and learn yourself. Nowadays it's like everybody learns to be like the same person. Everything is so like every match looks the same, and you can tell because they who's their trainer. So what that say about their trainer? You know what I
yeah.
mean? So it's a lot that go into it, and I could get deeper for real, but I don't feel like getting in trouble. I ain't got time. You know what I mean? Leave me alone. Like it is what it is. So that's just me. And every time I come on here, I'm gonna be real. Like I ain't gonna sugarcoat it for real. But like, yeah, these dudes in the Indies ain't about shit for real. Cause ain't nobody drawing no damn money. There's nobody drawing any money. And I can sit here and slap myself in the face too because shit, like if I ain't drawing either, so I gotta figure it out. So I gotta be, you know what I'm saying? Like for real. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm pretty sure if they gave me the shot, like right now, like when I was out here or whatever, I do pretty good. Like I'm I just had a match with one of my old old mentors from like back in the day, from like 2013. I just turned 21 and whatnot. So I'm like still a good 3-4 years in the business, fresh, soaking wet, don't know shit, just trash. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, now I'm a little seasoned a little bit, and it felt good to go against old mentors. And he said that, yo, like that was one of the best matches. Actually, he didn't say one of, he said that was the best match I had in my life. You feel me? Like, and he had a lot of shit going on. You know what I'm saying? Back
Yeah.
then, I used to look up to bro. So for him to say that to me, I was like, damn, that shit mean a lot to me. That shit is real. Everybody that I work with for real always say like every time like that dude, like it's something about him. Like I love working with him. You know what I mean? So that keeps me going for sure. And knowing that, that's how you get over with people. You know what I mean? That's genuine on both sides. But I don't
Yeah.
wrestle for the boys though. That's nothing. I ain't wrestling for the boys. I'm wrestling for the people. That's how you supposed to do it. You wrestle for the people. They paying you. That's who's paying you, the audience. It's like if I was a rapper and I'm out here selling my mixtapes out the trunk, or I'm selling anything. You feel me? Like
Yeah.
shit, the customer, he the one that's letting me. That's how I think. And you can tell. I'm probably telling myself I used to hustle, so let me shut up. You know what I'm saying? But that's just real, man. And that's why I had to come on too, because I wanted to yeah, chop it up with you and let you know like shit, everything is still good. I'm still out here doing my thing, and I'm trying to stay out of trouble. And shout out to you, because y'all doing it. I'll be seeing y'all.
Yeah, I did. I gotta stop down. I doubted myself a lot. I'm like, oh, it's not that big of a deal because it's like I feel like I'm so new to all of this. It's like I'm a baby, like in all of this. Is people who've been doing this for like ever, and it's always just like, you guys are willing to work with me in some capacity. Are you willing to like throw me a bone? And that's super awesome. Like, thank you for even thinking of me when you could have asked like 5 or 6 other women to probably pull this off. So I look at it as I'm always grateful, even if it's a bad, if it's not an experience I expected to be, or it didn't happen the way I thought it would happen, which have happened a few times where it wasn't what I expected. But
Mm-hmm.
another experience, I just used it and go from there. Like, just never know. So, hoping I can like this could be like a full time thing, and then that will probably save me some trouble if I can focus
You,
on like one or two things separately, like my book stuff. Hopefully, I haven't really written any of my fiction like I wanted to because wrestling has taken up a lot of my time. But
man, I'll tell you.
when
Hey,
those two
listen.
things can hit, like, or I don't have to really worry about my other regular stuff, that'd be great. Like, I don't have to worry about my other writing jobs that require me to be writing a lot. That's nothing that I really want to write, but it's pays. So like pays my
Right,
bills. So it's like you do what you need to do with the cards you have. But hopefully I can like get on somebody's like program or where it's more of a permanent thing and I can kind of work off that. That'll be nice one
I'm
day.
I'm gonna tell you something too. In the Indies, it's gonna be hard because, like, as far as you know, what I'm saying, because I haven't had a home fed, and I can't say how long. Like the last home fed I had was that shit went out of business. Like it folded. You know what I'm saying? You gotta look at shit like that. Take that shit in consideration. You don't want to really get too attached to these places because you never know. Like one minute you like, yeah, we rocking, everything all good, and then they fold. You like, well, damn, you just had 2 shows. Like, what the fuck happened? Dog? You like, you ran out of money that quick. You like, don't worry about it. It was a budget. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just take shit like that into consideration. You don't want to really get too attached. And the more work you do, like the little interviews you do and whatnot, and hell, even if you try to like interview people in the ring and stuff like that, if you want to hold the microphone, don't let these motherfuckers take the microphone from you. All right, don't let
That
that
is
happen.
good advice. I literally have to do backstage interviews at a indie show next week. So
Do not let this man do. All right, listen to me. Do not let this grown ass adult take the microphone from you when you're talking. Let ask your question, and then let my man's answer. Ain't none of that. Whoops. All right, and then now you get out the ring and not like, come on, dog. Like That's just so bold, though. She a whole ass
That's another
interview.
thing why I said I couldn't be a wrestler because if somebody does that, knowing how I am as far as respecting, I would probably break gimmick and be like, okay, so what we're not doing is this. So hopefully nobody wants to do that because then I feel like my attitude's probably come out. And I know you
Like,
gotta kind of keep it professional, but I also respect you can be a gimmick, but you can be a gimmick without being like an asshole about it. I feel
yeah,
like
facts.
you can play the asshole gimmick and people do it well. Like Randy Orton used to piss me off all the time, but he played the asshole well, where it was like you played it well, but I didn't want to punch you in the throat. So like like don't be that person. So hopefully not, but we'll see. But I literally have to do this next week. But I have to
Yeah.
hold the mic and talk to people
Hey,
before and after the matches. So
man, well, listen, when I'm telling you, when you about to do that interview, just remember what I told you. Just think like Jon'tae said, hey, Jon'tae said, don't let him take this mic. Jon'tae said, don't let him take this mic. And if he even think about taking that mic, you smack, hey, you a mom, smack the shit out of bro hand and be like, what you think this is? What you thought this was? You better like
oh man. And it's so funny because with my kids, I usually can just give them a look. Like I don't have to like yeah, I yell sometimes, but a lot of times they already like they don't play with me. Like, I always think that we're not doing this. You're not gonna disrespect me. You're not gonna be
facts.
embarrassed to act as a fool. So
Mhm.
no. I was like know your mother. Like
You
what
gotta
would
put
I tolerate?
you gotta
So my
put the
kids.
fear of God in them real quick.
But that's it. I have to let them know. That's sometimes my son likes to try me because he does. He likes to try and see how far he can push. But they, for the most part, they already know. Like you, like to the point where even the kids at the school was like, "Oh, your mom doesn't play." And I was like, "Was I supposed to?" Like, y'all
I'm
know
telling
I don't play this kind of games. I don't play this kind of shenanigans. So I feel like you don't want me to be like the title of my kids because I can get real like extra when I need to be. But let's hope not, because I know me, and that's why I can never be a wrestler. So I was like, oh no, there's certain things
you.
you're not gonna do to me. I don't care, gimmick or not, I don't care. Like the spitting thing, like absolutely not.
Oh
Or
hell
like,
no! See, that's
yeah,
so.
like, I've seen wrestlers who do that, and I'm like, that's disgusting. Can we not? Can we not do bodily fluids? Like sweat is one thing, or if you really started bleeding during the match and it couldn't be helped, fine. But that like spitting stuff and stuff that is a disrespectful thing in general. So
Bruh.
that's not. I just there's certain things that I know. I was like, oh, this could be me. This could
You
be
know what
me.
I'm saying? And like, no funny shit though. Let me be real. It's always the white boys that say, "Let me spit on little goofy shit like that." They always want to spit on you, and you know what I'm saying? Like, why you want to spit on me? I'll never forget. So look, peep this out. One time I was in a match. It was like what, maybe like 2015, some shit like that. I forgot where I was at, but I remember the person. I ain't gonna say his name. This dude, Jon'tae, bro. You know, Sammy Callahan's been spitting on a lot of people lately in matches. You want to do that in one of ours? No. I'm like, why would you say that to me, dog? First, I'm like, because he know me, so that's why I ain't really like pissed about it, because I think he was just playing. But at the same time, that's what I'm talking about. No.
Yeah.
Why you want to spit on somebody? And I'm like, you damn sure ain't about to spit on me, bruh. Now you go spit on Sammy Callahan shit since he want to you know what I'm saying? Since he want to spit and all like you go spit, y'all have a spit fight. You know what I'm saying? Like that's goofy. And some Mark shit. He was a Mark for that. That was some Mark ass shit to say to me. Mark and disgusting.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's like do what you need to do, but also like can we not? I feel like there's just certain things as why is this a thing? But I'll get the argument like, but it's wrestling and you don't understand. I'm like, yeah, we can still do this without it being disrespectful. I feel like what are we 5? I'm like I don't know. I feel like respect is such a big thing to me. So it's like let's be respectful. Like I can, we don't have to agree necessarily, but be respectful. So
All I know is
hopefully,
these
you know.
wrestlers disrespect you. Can't even talk. Disrespect you because Matt's gonna be at he's gonna be at the show too, right?
I don't know.
At,
I
at.
honestly don't know. The thing between me and him is I'm usually the one who's ready for like the shits, and that's I'm always the one like even if he probably wants his thing, I'm already there. So it's like because I don't do well with disrespect in general. I just don't like being disrespected. So my first instinct is to react to that. So usually in general with even my friends and stuff like if I think like I find disrespectful, I'm already like so let's try this again. What's this? And I'm already there. And then they go, like, oh, I'm gonna take it. I'm like, oh, I got you. Don't even worry. I got this. And I do this a lot. I tell my friends like I didn't realize how bad it was until something happened with another friend, and this is online. And the guy was just real wild disrespectful, and I just went off, and I'm like, oh, I am so sorry, I did all this under your post, but you're my friend, and the first thing I thought was to protect you as my friend, and so I went off, and I'm like, all right. So she was like, no, it's no problem, but I'm like, listen, my head was like, oh, you're my friend, he tried it, and I went off. So I'm like,
Right.
yeah, I didn't realize how bad it was until like, I was like, no, I really get a little with people I care about, it's bad. So I probably would say something before he would anyway, but I don't
Hey,
know. I'm
shit.
probably
It's all good then, and it's all good.
so, so even if something I feel like if someone tell something to him that I don't necessarily like, and I'm always like, "You lucky I just scrolled on and didn't say anything," because my first reaction is always to comment like, "Excuse me, what? Who the fuck are you?" That's always my very first thing when people say certain things to him, and I'm just like, "So you just gonna let him?" And he's like, "Oh, it's not a big deal." I'm like, "It is in my head, like, but it is a big
Right,
deal. Like, so
right.
you feel like they can disrespect you." And so I'm always like, "You're so lucky." Now I just kind of scroll, don't say anything because my first reaction is always to comment. Like, well,
Mm-hmm.
who the fuck are you? Like, you are
Mm-hmm.
not even important. Let's not. You are not important. Let's calm that down. And I always will try to like knock people down a peg when they do something like that. It's like let's knock that ego back down a bit. So I feel like I would probably get therapy for him anyway. But, and this again, I'm a nice person, but I just don't really do well with disrespect. I think that's always been an issue for me. It's the red button. It's like
Oh,
I'm
fact.
nice, I'm a nice person, and I will help. I'm a helpful person. I'll go out of my way, but let's not be disrespectful. That's a red button for me. That is fucking with my kids. So that's a
Absolutely.
whole bit. That's a red button for me. It's like, oh, you're gonna get a bad side of me that you didn't want to know. So
That's real though. We all big on respect. I know I am. That's for damn sure. And like I said, you gotta nip that in the bud quick with a lot of. Well, you know, I'm trying not to curse so much, but damn, see, I'm
yeah,
trying.
that's, I'm like I said, so far I haven't had anything really crazy happen or nothing. Like I said, there's a couple of incidents, and then the weirdo fans, but I've had weirdo fans even before I was really doing anything wrestling by myself. So it's like you get the weird guy fans who feel away and be like something they don't like in DMs, and which I freaking hate. So like I don't need you to DM me why you don't agree. I really don't care this much. Like I don't care. You can go with your life. I'm gonna go about mine because I don't know you. So it's like I don't know. That's a bit much sometimes, and I feel like being on camera made it worse.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but so far so good. I haven't really had to deal with too much of nonsense yet, but I'm hoping to keep it that way because like I hear the stories sometimes and I'm like, damn, this sucks. Like makes me apprehensive sometimes of being in the wrestling stuff when I hear some of these stories that's really questionable and I'm like, do I want to deal with this myself? Like is it something I want to put myself in a situation like this? So
You know, when you hear stuff like that, like I can honestly say, like since I've been in the Indies, there's been a lot of shit that I've seen. You know what I'm saying? As far as like the bad stuff and whatnot. But it's also been like a lot of good. And I can honestly say that the good is always outweigh the bad. But it always depends on like where you go, who you hang around, that type of shit. It's all really like it's like how you treat life. You know what I'm saying? If wherever you go it's gonna be bullshit, if you just need to know how to avoid it for real. And I can't say I've always been the best at avoiding it, but I'm doing better at it now. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
you just pick and choose where you be at, who you kick it with, the same shit. Same thing that you do with everything else, apply it here too. You know what I'm saying? It's I don't have a lot of friends in the business. Uh I can count on both hands how many friends I got in the business for real. And that's just because I've always heard that in wrestling, you lucky to walk out of here with one friend. You know what I'm saying? The business is a work. The whole purpose of it is to work you. So you don't really know who's being genuine with you or who's not. You know what I'm saying? And granted, when I was starting out in the business or whatever, like the business kind of changed. It wasn't more so like the big brutes that was all drugged up and pilled up bullying
yeah,
people anymore. It was more so like everybody just kind of just chilling. Like they were still around and bitter, but they weren't really like bullying you and hazing you and stuff like that. Like
yeah,
they were just trying to just teach you other stuff. Now it's completely different. Nobody's like going through none of that stuff that they heard from back in the day. A lot of wrestlers aren't on drugs like that anymore. You know what I'm saying? And they're it's a whole different lifestyle because we all damn near the same age. But it's pretty much nothing but millennials in the business now, and
yeah,
none of us are like really on drugs and shit. We just do our own thing. They said backstage they replaced it with beers and pills and all this other shit with like Xboxes and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole different lifestyle. So now everybody's just, it's just creepy. You know, it's just a bunch of creeps that you be like, man, what the fuck is you on? Like all the shit that we was talking about back in 2020. I mean, everybody was getting exposed for being weird. You like, huh? Like, what is
And
wrong with
still,
you?
and still, I just saw something like last week, and I'm like, can we
Right.
not be like pedophiles? Can we not be like creeps? Can we like? Is it really that complicated to be a good person? Like, I don't know.
It's weird as hell. And you know why I was weirded out? Because I jumped off the porch so young, and I'm already like I'm in the locker rooms already. And I'm like, if that's the case, what type of people was I around? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
I was 15, 16 in the locker rooms with some of those guys that was getting outed. And I was like, are you serious? I was working with a dude when I was like 15, 16, and all through when well no I he got rid of the company when I was 18. Sorry, got rid of the company when I was 18, and so that's how you know how long I've been with bro and stuff like that. And what he got called out for, I was shocked. I'm like, though, I was with this dude
yeah,
as a teenager and had no idea. You know what I'm saying? But how could I though? I'm young. You know what I mean? I just wanted to wrestle. I didn't know that bro was a creep for real. I know a lot of them motherfuckers was really creepy for real until I got older, and it just made me sick. I'm like, damn, I was really out here being grown, but you know what I'm saying? When I
yeah,
should have had my ass in school, but I'm out here kicking it with motherfuckers that's really creeps and shit. It fucked me up. So
yeah.
I couldn't, man. And then when everything had happened and folks was trying to make excuses for them and stuff like for them, I should say for that, and I'm like, there is no excuses for stuff like this. Like what? Huh? I don't get, bro. I don't care what you going through. Like
Yeah.
some of the stuff that they was getting outed for, you just don't do. You don't know. Made me really think about a lot of shit, and I definitely thought about quitting the business the whole 2020. You know, we talked about it. Like I was over it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's sometimes in the back of my head. Like, I hope just like never get in like a situation with a person that's like creepy, and I don't know that they're creepy, and then something happens or it's a bad experience for me. Like, hopefully, because so far so good. But for the most part, at least recently, I've been working with a lot of women anyway, and they seem so far so good. There's a couple of people like I did hear. I just was told that there's people who say like really like shitty things to me, or like I'm not like myself is not that important because I'm like nobody. I'm like, okay, I mean, I guess like I didn't think I was. I don't put myself like I'm Renee Young or I'm Stone Cold podcast. I'm like, I know this. Like, I know
That's
that
cool.
already. Like, I don't ever brag about myself. I always downplay what I do anyway because I'm always like I could be better, or there are things I could do better, or so many things I haven't even touched yet. So,
Right.
but yeah, I've heard the really weird ass like Charlotte's comments, and I'm like, listen, like, granted, I didn't think I would be here in a year, but also I do work hard. It's not like I'm just like BSing either. I still have to reach out to people. I still gotta build some type of relationship to even get, so it's not like I'm just like, well, here you go, Katrina, you just here, whatever. So, I
That's
mean, it hurts, but it's also like, it is what it is. Like, I'll remember you when I get there. Thank you for that motivation, I guess. So,
that's exactly what it is. Nothing but motivation. That's just some hating shit. You know what I'm saying? Because who are you to say shit like that to me? But granted, I've been hearing shit like that for a while, so whatever. I kind of just turn the other cheek now. Folks be like, Jon'tae, you think I ain't like? It was so weird. Folks be like, some folks don't like me. They never even met me, and I'm like, what the fuck?
oh yeah, I had I had that for a person who I worked with, and I recently found out she didn't like me because the other people we worked with was like saying good things. I was like, I didn't tell this person to talk good about me. This is such a weird thing to be upset about. I'm like, I don't. When I'm done with work stuff, I am done. Like, I don't bother anybody. Once I'm off, I'm off. I don't bother anybody. I'm not. So it was a really weird thing to hear, and I was just like, that's such a petty. Like, do you want me to be a shitty person? Like, I don't understand. Like, if I
I'm
was
saying,
shitty, would you like me better? Like, I'm like, I be how I am with most people. Like, if I feel disrespected or I feel away, I will say it, and I probably won't be the nicest. But for the most part, I am who I am. So, like, I am how I am with everybody else. I'm gonna, try to be a good person. So I'm like, it's a really weird thing. And I was like, this is just a petty thing to be upset about. But apparently that was the thing, and I haven't met this person. Like, it's online working, but it's like you've never even met me in person. But okay, I guess if you're upset, I
mm,
don't know. Like, I don't tell you. Like, I guess. Like, I can't. I don't force people to say good things about me. It's like I'm like, God damn it, say good things about me every day. I was like, no. I have a hard time taking compliments as it is. So yeah. Um. It's just. It's a weird thing. I feel like this wrestling thing also made that a bit worse. Like a bit. I'm like, y'all just be for no reason. I don't bother anybody. So it's like, why you guys always have something to say? I guess.
I'm the same way. And I've always been, I don't bother anybody for real. Like everybody that's been around me knows, like I'm probably one of the coolest people you ever meet. You'd be like, why do like that's bro? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I don't be doing that to nobody. I be chilling. I'm a little opinionated, but damn, like it is what it is. Like an opinion don't mean it's really a fact. It's just how I feel.
Exactly.
How I feel
Exactly.
right now. You know what I mean? Get to know me and you'll know.
Yeah, I mean, I go on my little rants here and there, but I'm like, for the most part, I'm literally how I am. Like, I get a little nervous and shy, but once I'm comfortable, I'm myself, and I'll joke and laugh and be sarcastic, and so it was just a weird thing, and I'm just like, oh, okay, well, I guess, like, I can't make you like me, but I didn't do anything to you. It's like you would know if I really want to do something. Like, when I want to be petty, I can be petty. So
Oh yeah.
I haven't done anything. I was like, oh, yeah, you want to know, and I really am upset. You would know.
You
So
sound just like my wife. If you want me, I can be petty. I'm like, bruh, you don't
just
calm
saying,
the fuck
like I can be really petty when I want to be, and I'm like, listen, I'm a person that holds on to like everything, like receipts and everything. Like, oh, we can play this game. You want to play this game with me? Like, I'm the wrong person to like cross. So it's like I'm really not bothered. Maybe a lot of times I have let a lot of things go, and I'm like, you know what, just let it go, Katrina. I haven't said anything, so I'm like, I'm really not sitting here bothering people. Like once I do my stuff, I kind of do everything else. I have too many things I have to do, and I'm a mom, and it's like my kids are always like my number one priority anyway. So it's like
man.
I'm not really sitting here worrying this much for you guys to feel this way. But I mean, I guess if this makes you feel better about something that's going on, I guess. But we can be petty. Like let's not. Like I was like, if you want me to be petty, it's gonna be bad. Like so let's not get there. Let's just keep it a buck, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely got to keep it a buck. I was wondering why this dude was flashing. I'm like, bro, who is this? He got these lights all in my man. Bro. And it's so funny because some of them, like a lot of folks know that I wrestle, and they be like, man, here come Randy Orton. You think he the Rock? They be talking shit. I be like, get the fuck. Because they don't. That's what I'm saying. Like the people that I'm out here, like I'm really with the people. Like I'm with regular people, so they see wrestling, and you can bring up the wrestling about them. They be like, damn, like I remember when wrestling was like this. Like who is this person? What's going on over here? And this is like they look at it and be like, it's so hokey and fake and this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? I'm really out here talking to people. They don't look at this shit, so they don't be knowing what's going on. But it's something about wrestling that they connected to before they used to like, you know what I'm saying, that they hold on to.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, we gotta get these type of people interested again. The casual fans that can look at something and be like, oh, that shit was cool. Let me keep it here. And then next thing you know, everybody else want to see it because the same person that you just impressed, he out here telling more people now. And then like it really keeps going more and more and more and more and more, and that's how you get like another audience and whatnot. But this is the ones we got to get to. We got to get to the regular people first. The casuals got to be out here and like, oh snap, because I love performing in front of casual fans because they just want to they just want to sit there and be like, they don't know shit about wrestling. They be like, man, what is going on? They just want to show. You go to the smart mark crowds and Jesus Christ, they about to sit here and talk about the one fall. This is awesome. All the mark shit that the fans say, they gonna say it. And I ain't disrespecting because I kind of dig it, especially when I'm having a good match and I'm hearing the this is awesome chance. I like that. But you can tell the difference between a casual crowd and a smart mark crowd. I personally just like a casual crowd. You ain't got to work as hard. You know what I'm saying? The smart marks, that bro. I don't even think I told you, but I remember one time I was at a show and one of the fans was calling out the damn moves, like the drop down and like the whole international spot during one of the dudes' matches. I was like, Jesus Christ, like this is what y'all do? Like y'all here, y'all know the business so much that y'all out here calling international spots. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. That was so disrespectful, bro. Yeah, I cussed the fan out. It's in Fremont, Ohio. I will never forget that shit.
That is so weird though. It's like even if you know, like granted, there are sometimes I see matches and I hate when I know the spot is coming. And I'm like, if I see you're setting up too much time to set it up, I know it's coming. And that takes me out of the match. It does. But I'm not gonna call it out either. I might get annoyed, like, okay, you set this up and because you set it up, now I don't care enough for the spot. But I'm not gonna be like, oh, he's about to do this because it's like, well, what is the point of that? Like, it's like stay home then if you wanna. Or the fans who like to hijack shows because that I hate. It's like it is one thing if you like a face or a heel and the crowd is behind that wrestler. Like if the person's a face or heel, that's one thing. But the ones who like would try to take over the show, I'm like, can we like you don't have to like every single wrestler. They don't have to be your best friends, but be respectful because they're still working. You know what I mean? Like they're still trying to entertain. Like let's not make it where you feel like you're that above. It's like let's hijack the show. I hate that. I don't like. It's like
they really be trying to hijack.
Like pay money. I'm like, well, so the fuck did I? I paid the money too. I don't want to be annoyed, and I want to enjoy the show. I don't want to feel like I'm gonna have to argue with some other fan because you don't know how to act. Like it's like I was like, there's a reason why people think wrestling fans are weird. You're supposed to change that the opinion of yourselves by acting a little better, and y'all act worse. So it's like this is why they think wrestling fans are the creepy guys who live in mom's basements and talk shit online. It's like this is what I think this because look how you guys act. Like act better. You know, you don't have to be so extra over the top like some of the fans are, and that like as a fan, it bothers me. So I'm like, I know it has to bother the wrestlers because it bothers me, and I'm not the one wrestling. It's like I'm watching and I'm annoyed. So like, I know this has to get on like some of the wrestlers and some of the stuff that some of the fans are doing. Yeah. Like, so it's like it's an entitlement.
It's mad. It's hella annoying for sure. But you know, I didn't create wrestling, and I'm pretty sure. Hopefully wrestling still be around. I don't know. Can I be honest with you? I don't think that wrestling is going to be around. And I'm making a bold statement, but I can say I feel like I can tell you this because we cool. But I don't think wrestling going to be around for a good little minute, bro. Like I don't know. I see by like 2027, there's nothing. Because what else can you do? The bar is set so fucking high now. Like you gotta like get hit by a plane or some shit to make this like for real. Like I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't really watch death matches like that because I don't really care enough about them. I just feel like it's a lot of body hurting to impress a crowd. I mean, power to them, not me. I just can't. But yeah, I mean, I guess with all the fluff, like the fluff finishers, and now sometimes your finishing moves don't seem legit anymore because a lot of that, which also bothers me because I'm like your finishing move should always be protected enough that it looks like it's supposed to look like, and not like okay, well this is a regular move now. Like even if it is a regular move, like the Rock, the freaking people's elbow was like one of the most basic ass moves. Shit was basic, so basic, but because it was like done in a way that it protected it enough even though it looks absolutely ridiculous, it worked, you know? So it's like
imagine being a person selling that shit. You gotta wait for bro.
I mean, personally, I was always just like, listen, if I was the Rock's opponent, I am not sitting here waiting for you to do all this. I'm getting up, just like with the Undertaker's like long ass walk to the ring. I'm like, I'm not sitting here waiting for you to walk to the ring for 10 minutes. Like, I'm gonna have to be a heel now and beat you up on the ramp because why are we taking 10 years? This is a whole, like, you know what I can do in 10 minutes? And so, granted, but I don't know. I just feel like a lot of times because it's like let's do these false finishes, let's have these matches, do all this extra spot stuff, and it's like as a fan, it does take away sometimes. It does. I hope wrestling is still around, but wrestling have lost a lot of the audience, like all around. Even with like WWE and AEW, wrestling isn't the level it was 10 years ago as far as fans. So it's like most wrestling fans are the ones who are like the diehard wrestling fans, the ones who watch for years or watched it with their family. So it's like, how do you get the casual fan to stick around.
He's got to be real again. Like I don't know. You know what I'm saying? He's got to be real for some. I don't have the answer for real, but it can't just be me that's saying like we gotta get over it organically and try to like do all little cool shit on the internet and thinking like a few shares and a few views is gonna get you some goddamn where for real. But man, I don't know the way the world works. Who knows, man? I don't know. I don't have the answer. You know what I'm saying? I'm only been doing this for 12 years. I still haven't figured it out for real. I'll still be out here making mistakes. You know what I'm saying? But I do know what it takes to get over it. And you just have to have a relationship with people, bro. That's all you got to do. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
Yeah.
It's not hard, man. Just have a relationship with people. Even if you on the like the shittiest place on a card, like say you on a pre-show match or whatever, and I don't even want to disrespect that because I've done them, and I've done so many pre-show matches and all them shits. Battle royals, I hate battle royals, but you know what I'm saying. I've done it all. Feel like for real, and like just make a moment, make yourself stand out. That's why like every promoter that's ever taken a chance on me, like I appreciate because for one, I don't have to be in that ring. I'm 100 and something pounds. I'm 5'11". They like, bro, what can you do? You know what I'm saying? There's way people bigger than you, so you gotta be special some type of way. That's how I look at it. They don't even have to let me in their ring. You know what I mean? So I have to sit here and stand out that much more because I'm little.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I gotta figure this shit out. At first, I thought it was flying every damn where, jumping off basketball rims and doing this, that, and the third. But when I figured out, like, I'm still going home with no contract, and you know what I'm saying, you still making little to no money, and like your bills is adding up. Shit ain't making sense. I'm like, nah. Like, you feel me?
Yeah.
Like something it ain't making sense. I need to know what's going on, and it's like my third eye woke up. You know what I mean? And when you get a relationship with the people, you start to perform for the people.
Yeah.
But like I said, it can't be just me that thinks like this. It got to be like the business as a whole. But the indie, everybody in the indies is like so caught up on their own hype, and they think that they really over, and they think they doing something revolutionary for the business. And meanwhile, don't nobody even know what the fuck going on. don't nobody know. I do think AEW gonna be around for a little minute, because shit, why wouldn't it be? Unless Tony sit here and say I ain't about to do this shit no more. Everybody gone, whatever. Yeah, it's gonna do its thing. But I don't really see nothing else happening in wrestling for real like that. I'ma still do the shit though, cause it's fun. Yeah.
I mean, let's hope. I'm hoping things change. There is a lot of things, like I said, that needs to be tweaked in wrestling in general, with a lot of the things that I've seen as a fan. But even just like with how matches are done, or how some of the storylines are told, or I will say Tony Khan needs to be less of a mark for himself, because, like I said, sometimes he just irritates me, and it's because like it's like, why rich man to talk some shit on like TV? You don't see his ass on Twitter. There's a reason for that. Like, it's like you can't be a business owner and be in all types of arguments with people with fans on Twitter. It's like, dude, nah, you gotta like let somebody else handle the fans. Let's not lower yourself to. So that's the only issue I have. Like, that's what the issues have with him. It's like,
Mhm.
dude,
People thought
you are a CEO. Act like it. Like, you are a CEO.
you was on the AEW conference call. Next time you get on there, be like, "Hey, I got a homeboy from Detroit."
I didn't get to ask my questions. There's so many people in that call, but like two people I did know answered correct. But then he did that thing with my girlfriend, where he got went on a whole rant about what he did, and I got annoyed by that, because I'm like, Tony, this is not about you. Like, she asked you about something totally different. He went a whole rant, and I was annoyed by that, because I'm like, what does this have to do with what she asked you? Like, you were
Yeah.
angry, you be angry on a different time. Like, and so like that annoyed me. But then some of his answers to the other questions was just like, okay, guys, like, you sometimes you're so like, be confident. I'm always a fan of, you can be confident in your ability, be confident in what you bring, but also let's not be, that confidence is a thin line between confidence and ego, and that's my issue with him. It's like he falls right into that ego a lot, And I'm like, let's not act like everything AEW does is like gold. It is not. And there's a lot of things you guys can do better. But there's the other option. That's
Yeah,
not the
I can make it better. I can make it better. Just give me the chance, dog. You feel me? Stop playing.
Listen, they got quite a few people I've actually like either interviewed at some point or like I know it. I'm like, oh shit, you on the show? Like, so you never know. You never know. Like, I
Nah,
mean, be extra annoying and be like, okay, I'm start tagging. Like, there's some people you need to get up on AEW Dark or something and see what happens from there.
that's
Just
lit though. I've been seeing a lot of people that it look like they just chopping folks up from the indies and be like, yo, come in here and wrestle. Like I be seeing like a lot of folks that I know be getting like little matches and stuff like that. And I'm gonna be real careful when I say this, all right? Really careful. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to offend anybody. But I used to always see things like that, and I used to be like, nah, like I want more. I don't want to be on TV knowing that I'm the job dude. Because look, because I got an ignorant family. I love them to death. My family be like, oh yeah, my family's so supportive of me. You know what I'm saying? Like the people that really fuck with me, like I'm telling you, like I got a strong support system. So they'll see me on TV. I'm telling them, I'm like, yo, look, I'm gonna be on TV. I'm going against such and such. This, that, and the third gonna happen. Man, how I look? They turn the TV on, and all of a sudden I'm getting beat the fuck up by like whoever in 3 seconds. Everybody gonna be going on me like, dog, I thought you gonna turn to the Rock or somebody, man. Like, what you, what? It ain't on your neck, and you did all types. Besides, I'm just joking, but I, I
Oh
see
man.
stuff. I see stuff like that with guys, and that's cool because in reality, that's how like a lot of guys kind of like the Hardys became.
Yeah. Who? There's few of those drama matches. I'm like, goddamn, Jeff, goddamn.
You know what I'm saying? Like they were the job guys, and they you saw what they became. So I don't want to knock it. It's just like when I get there or get anywhere, you know what I mean? That's anywhere I end up going. I want to be over enough to where people are like, oh shit, like there's no reason to the point where Jon'tae is not in a situation where I'm either being made to look better or I'm in a position to make somebody else it's an even playing field, I should say. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I don't want to be just known as a job guy. I'm gonna be real. I can go to AEW right now and they'll see me and they'll look at me and be like, okay, yeah, you putting bro over. Just the visual alone, because I'm small, I already know what they'll do. You know what I'm saying? Like not everybody can be like Darby Allin. You know what I'm saying? It's a little it's an aura to bro where he's already over enough, and it's crazy because I used to do the same shit he did. I was jumping off basketball rims and whatever the fuck. I was black doing it, I guess. I don't know, but but a lot of folks can be like Darby and be real small and still be over on the top of the program and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
be like top baby face and use well. Like you got to scratch and claw and do your own thing and whatnot. And I respect that. It's just that I want to already by the time I get up there, because bro, like I'm married. I'm like we're gonna end up having a family. I don't want to just be out there wrestling and for all right, yeah, see you later. I can do that in the indies. You know what I'm saying? I'm more. It's more about like if I do something, it's it's because my family got to be straight.
Yeah.
Then my wife, I gotta make sure she's good. It's just so much stuff that's different. I can't just sit here and be like, yeah, man, I'm gonna go to AEW, and then that's I don't know what's going on. I don't know what they're gonna do. If this is just a one and done, and knowing
Yeah.
how I am as a competitor, as a man, as just all that, I know that I want more for myself. And if I'm in this big ass wrestling company and I know how to wrestle and all this other stuff, like why I can't sit here and talk business with you and make something happen for real, for real.
Yeah.
And so that's how I'm looking at it. I don't want to just go and be another guy. I want to be in the mix if that's the case. So
Yeah.
until I can and I'll prove myself and I'll keep doing that until it happens. And if it don't happen, hey, it is what it is. But I'm not about to just go on TV and be like, yep, I made it, y'all, and I don't need folks telling me congratulations when I ain't do shit for real. I just put I didn't put MJF over, or that's all I did. I got my ass beat for 3 seconds, and now he over even more. I gotta go back to the Indies and wrestle motherfucking whoever, and you know what I'm saying? Like, what that do
Yeah.
for me?
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it, and I'm not trying to be selfish. I'm not like that at all. I'm the easiest dude to work with, but I'm not stupid. You know,
Yeah.
this is a business, right? So you got to treat it as such.
Yeah.
I love wrestling, but love don't pay the bills like that.
Listen. Ooh, that's a wrap for another day. A wrap for another day. Because it definitely doesn't. It does not.
So yeah, you gotta keep these bills paid, and that's why I'm like I'm all. And I don't need wrestling. Like I'm good. You feel me? But it's just like it would be nice if I was at a big company and I was really comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all it takes. Like I just want to be comfortable and happy doing what I love to do, and yeah, I don't think that's too much to ask for real.
No, it's not. It's not. I think I just had an intuitive wrestler told me that one of the biggest pieces of advice was to just make sure you also look out for yourself as well, because people will try to take advantage. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. People definitely will try to take advantage of you in ways and call it as, but that's just business. So blah blah blah. So
Bible.
definitely look out for yourself as well. Like have a good time, but also make sure you're good. So I get that.
Hey, let me get my ass up out of here.
Yeah, we've been out for over an hour. So
And I
just
ain't seen like different
just
people.
chopping it up.
My line lead had came out and was like, "Fam, you still in the car?" He looked at me, did one of these, like with his hands up. I'm like, nah.
Well, thank you so much for coming back on. It's always good to have you on an episode.
I'm gonna be on a 4 time, 5th, a 6 time. When you listen, I'm gonna crash somebody. That's what I'm gonna just pop up. It's all original on this show, so fuck out of here.
You definitely are though. You were my very, very first interview. Very first interview.
But yeah, I've enjoyed it for sure. I'm definitely gonna be back.
Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I hope your holidays go well and everything else is
Thank
good.
you.
Good, all those good vibes over there. And I can't wait to have you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be back soon. I'm gonna keep in touch with you. Sure, you already know.
All right, guys. I believe the links are still the same, so I will have all of that in the description as always. And until next time, we'll catch you later.
All right, see you.